Now, for a lot of people, when they look at a JPEG, an image of something, whatever it is, these NFTs, you think it could be quite easy just to right click, save as, and then reproduce that NFT somewhere else on a different ecosystem, even like from Ethereum to Cardano or vice versa, and then sell your NFT there. Well, it's actually going to get a lot harder. And with services like ArgusNFT, which is looking at fraud detection using AI and machine learning all behind it, and looking across multiple different blockchains, it's going to get harder and harder. And this is a really good thing in that it's creating that safety net for users on either ecosystem, on crypto, in blockchain in general, so that you know when you're buying something, it's the original, it's the real deal, it's the original NFT from the particular project. And it helps protect users and protects the ecosystem in general. And I have Giovanni joining me on this episode to talk about the platform that they're building. It's a software as a service platform that will be able to integrate into various different marketplaces. So one day you'll see this integrated into OpenSea, you'll see it on JPEG Store, which is already integrated in at the moment, and going out to different ecosystems, different blockchains to help protect the NFT community and all the artists out there. Now you think, big deal, it's just artwork, right? Well, some of these art pieces are worth millions, if not thousands of dollars, and people are trading and buying them. But what about the evolution of the NFTs and the NFTs that then are actual land rights or properties, real life properties, home real estate? And these NFTs represent the ownership of them or digital identities that are built as NFTs. These type of NFTs that are evolving in the ecosystem do definitely need this type of fraud protection to ensure that the data isn't replicated elsewhere and being used as a fraudulent thing to try and claim a property and sell it or something like that. So these type of mechanisms that are being created right now are the early parts of that type of ecosystem to protect and ensure that the future of NFTs and the evolution of them is as safe as possible. Right, let's get into this interview. I have Giovanni joining me on this episode. He's a stake pool operator from Easy One, but is also working on something extremely cool for the Cardano community around NFTs. I saw this a little while back and I mentioned it in one of my news updates, and this is pretty cool. I've got him on to the podcast so we can talk a little bit more about this Argus NFT solution. So Giovanni, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Peter. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I'd like to get into a little bit about your background and how you got into the Cardano ecosystem. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found Cardano?
Of course. I am a software engineer. I've been working in engineering for 14, 15 years already. And in 2017, in work, I was talking to my colleagues, and this colleague of mine, Kevin, said, Joe, I found out like a really nice, cool new blockchain project called Cardano. It's a scientific approach, paper first, all this kind of jazz. Like, I think we should take a look at it. And that's basically how we fell in love with Cardano already in 2017. We've been following all along. And then in 2020, I decided to start my own stake pool, and then eventually launched ArgusNFT.
Awesome. So it's a little bit of a journey there for you. And now the Argus NFT is the one that I really want to get into now. Can you explain a little bit about what it is and what this problem that you identified in the NFT community is, and how your solution fixes all that?
Yes. So last year in August 2021, I was talking to some community members about the fact that on the new emerging marketplaces for NFTs, the queue for getting verified as an artist were very, very long. So after a little bit of a conversation, we realized that the real problem wasn't the verification process, but was the fact that artists needed to be verified in order to avoid scams. And in particular, copying NFTs or plagiarized NFTs. So what the marketplaces wanted to ensure that whoever was creating collections and arts on their marketplaces were actually verified and reduce the chances of course, scams. So the real problem is that one, right? Is there a way that we can very quickly identify copies of NFTs or plagiarized content? So likely, thanks to my background in machine learning and engineering, obviously, and knowing a little bit how Cardano works, I started to experiment and see if we could use machine learning to quickly identify copies of NFTs and plagiarized content. So after a test of a month and a half, we actually managed to create a proof of concept. We validated it, and that's basically how it started, how it all started.
That's absolutely amazing, because like I do know, like when you go into these secondary markets, you see something really cheap. Like if you see your favorite project out there, where it's like Disco Solaris or Space Buds, and you see a copy in it. Oh, well, you don't know it's a copy, but it's really cheap. And like, how do you know? Like, what kind of verification processes are there? So I'm liking what you're trying to build there. So yeah, go on.
So most of the people that are watching us now, probably they know that they have to do their own due diligence and verify that the policy ID matches the policy ID of the website, right? But this requires for the people to know about the policy ID of the collections and what the website of the collection is. There must be a way for people that are less tech savvy to be protected. People shouldn't really care about this. They shouldn't do their verification, right? Everything should be vetted for them. Obviously, with the scale of the NFT marketplace, both on Cardano and globally on many blockchains, this can be done manually by operators. So we need to automate the manual intervention, and that's where exactly machine learning can really excel. So what we do is we do at least 2-3 different verifications, and then those verifications, if any of them or all of them, they return with a very high level of alert, we then flag the NFT as potential fake. So we compare the minting history, and we see if basically what has been associated to this NFT was already minted in the past or somewhere else. And then if that's the case, if it is an identical copy or something very similar, we flag it. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. And we also are offering this as a software as a service for marketplaces, so that they can integrate this solution into their marketplace, like JPEG Store announced a month and a half, 2 months ago. So they can protect customers from purchasing counterfeit or fake NFTs.
That is really, really cool. So I totally agree with you there with the user experience that you're talking about. A new user to the ecosystem should not ever need to verify the collection. They should be able to go to secondary marketplace, and all that's done in the background. And all they need to do is just purchase, bang, done. They have an authentic piece. So I love that that user experience where you're taking away that check for the policy IDs, et cetera, et cetera. I still check, but I'm technical. I can set all those things up and do all the checks myself. And this verification process, it seems quite logical when you think about it, using the mint history. If they're copying the exact same attributes for an NFT or something, and you see it replicated again and again on the internet, then yeah, I guess there's something wrong there. What's going on there? Maybe the original owner of the project did something wrong, or someone's copying the NFTs. So that's really, really cool. Is there anything else in that process, or is it just as simple as that, the metadata and the mint history?
There are other levels. So first of all, the problem that we started to solve is mostly at the beginning for images, right? Because that's what most of the NFTs in circulation are. So we also check if there is an identical copy or if there is something similar, and that's where the power of the machine learning really excels. Because sometimes what happens is that scammers, they ever so slightly modify the image so that it doesn't exactly match the original image. So they are trying to fool the system, but likely the machine learning is able enough to say that even though two things are not exactly the same, they're actually very similar. And if there is a certain threshold, if those two things are very, very similar, then we can flag them as a fake. Obviously, there is also a different flow that is always under the control of manual operators. So if there is something that is, I don't know, 50-50, it's not exactly sure, we have people reviewing manually and enhancing the system as well. One thing that we would love to do sometimes into the future is basically process not only images, but also, I don't know, short clips, songs. It's very possible with songs to do the same thing as well. We know that there are a couple of projects on Cardano building music, around music, for instance, and we would love to provide the same level of protections to music as well. And then this can go on anything like books. We know that they're doing books as well. So these are all the things we would love to explore with the time. But at the moment, like 95% plus of NFTs is about images and pictures. So that's where our effort at the moment is.
I was going to ask you about the future of NFTs. Like you said just then, like 90 whatever percent of NFTs are images, and for a lot of people that are listening to this or are people external from our ecosystem, they just look at NFTs. They're just images. I can just right click, copy, save, whatever. But I see this platform providing that level of copyright protection throughout the entire ecosystem, and as NFTs evolve into other things like digital identities or other forms of supply chain checking and tracking, this kind of fraudulent check, I think, is going to play a huge part in the ecosystem across any kind of chain. So that's this. You're onto something really good, and I think people don't realize and understand. You think, okay, well, you're just checking JPEG images. What's a big deal? But the applications for this are huge when NFTs start getting used in other industries and ecosystems. Have you thought much about that and like a future roadmap for this, and what other industries you could tap into and help with your fraud detection, essentially, with what you're doing?
You're spot on. You're spot on, Peter. This when we grow up as a company, that's exactly what we want to do. I think that the first step is just to prove ourselves, right, and start to conceptualize the protection of IP. In this case, the IP, quote unquote, is a simple image, right? So that's how we want to get our hands dirty. But then into future, then we want to move on bigger and greater things and mature our product as the whole industry mature around NFTs. There is the supply chain, the verification of the products. We know already that there were like experimental things around the certification of the origin of a bottle of wine, the grapes, and so on and so forth. We can definitely blend our services into this type of other economies, right? And provide a very holistic solution that can help not only with our intellectual properties, but also in other fields. So, and last but not the least, what we want to do is not only currently ArgusNFT operates only on Cardano, but what we want to do, we want to go multi-chain as well. So we will be tackling Ethereum, we will be tackling Solana, and other EVM chains where there are other NFTs as well. So this is the big picture. Absolutely.
Very, very cool and exciting future for you guys, for sure. Now, you talked a little bit earlier about integrating into the Cardano secondary marketplace, the JPEG store. Can you talk a little bit about that integration? And you also mentioned going cross-chain as well. Can you talk a bit about how you integrated into JPEG store and what user could expect in regards to that integration?
Absolutely. So earlier this year, we started to show our proof of concept, our solution to a few marketplaces on Cardano, one of which being JPEG Store. Blake's reaction was very enthusiastic when he was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! Like, we can't wait for this product to get like a more mature state, so that we can start to experiment on our marketplace." So after 2-3 months of very hard work, we went back to Blake and said, "Look, I think we have something that we start to integrate." So we worked through the kinks of the technical integration. We did a couple of weeks of dry run so that nobody into the community knew about it, but just we wanted to be sure that everything was running smooth. And then when everything was working, sometimes I think at the end of the June, beginning of July, we actually announced to the community that we launched this actual integration. And since then, things have been going like really well. We then decided to we took a small break and we said, what do we want to do next? And we understand that solving a problem only with one blockchain is like, it's fantastic, so on and so forth. But Cardano is still not the leading marketplace and leading blockchain when it comes to NFTs. We want to make of Cardano the safest place where to create art, trade art, and collect art as well. So we said we need to start to work on other blockchains as well. So today, I'm really happy to announce on your show, Peter, that we actually launched an experimental feature where we're basically integrating specific collection from Ethereum. And so if collections like a Bored Ape Yacht Club, if someone is trying to create fakes on JPEG Store, they will receive a notification that that NFT is actually a fake. So this is an important milestone for us. We also have a catalyst proposals around this, and we decided to put a little bit of effort before into this because we want to commit to the community that we're absolutely serious about what we're building. And the funds that hopefully we're going to get with the catalyst is to basically tackle the scalability issue, because Ethereum is many folds bigger than Cardano. So it would be really nice if the community would support us by voting for us at next round of Catalyst, so that we can continue building this protection for Cardano and for Ethereum as well, obviously.
Like having that protection for not just the Cardano ecosystem, but making it broader, and anyone trying to rip off a project on Ethereum and pass it off as a Cardano project and selling it on there. That level of protection there is really, really cool. And good luck with expanding to the other blockchains as well. Having that exposure to other chains, providing this software as a service platform as well, very, very important. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of value out of that. And with your Catalyst proposal, how much are you asking for to be able to scale up this solution?
So for expanding to Ethereum, we're asking about $50,000. It's going to be a multi-months effort by a couple of engineers. So what we have to do is not only is basically ingest the full NFT history on Ethereum, then process it through our machine learning algorithm, and then integrate all those data on the platform that we already have. It's just 3 sample sentences, but like the amount of work that there is behind is absolutely huge. Yeah, it was 3 simple sentences, but I can't imagine how much data you have to pull through and process through machine learning to get that information done. So you can provide, I'm assuming, like a simple API interface where JPEG Store or other marketplaces and just go, oh, yep, that's a fake. So there's so much background work for you guys to actually make that service happen. So I'm really hoping the community gets behind that. Anyone that loves JPEGs, loves the NFT marketplace, and can actually see the future of this platform and where it's going, supports the Catalyst proposal. I highly recommend that they do, and I'll put links to everything in the show notes so that people can get to it and find out a little bit more about it. Now, you had more than one Catalyst proposal, though, didn't you? Yes. We actually have 4.
Okay.
There are two of them are around like the very core features of ArgusNFT, one of which being the Ethereum integration. Another one is the so-called Ethereum and Cardano NFT community map. So what we want to do is to create, first of all, is to gather data from both the Ethereum ecosystem, the NFT ecosystem, and the Cardano NFT ecosystem, and trying to understand where are point of contacts, so where are like things that are similar, and where are opportunities. So, for instance, if there are collections or projects that there are in Ethereum and that are actually lacking on Cardano. And this is a very useful exercise, because we will need to understand what are like the relationship between, for instance, projects, minting platforms, creators, artists, as they work on Ethereum, and how this thing works on Cardano. And by creating this network of data, we can try to exploit this data to understand where the opportunities are. So if there is any service that is minting, if there is any feature that is missing, and it can be in anything, like it can be in the artistic way, it can be like into the DeFi space, because obviously we know that there are NFTs that can be used also. There are a couple of examples like the aqua farmers for liquid finance, or there is like the hungry cows from the what was that, like milk swap or something like this, but
Muesli swap, yeah.
Muesli swap, yeah, thank you very much. So and also these NFTs, for instance, they are targeted by scammers. So it's all an ecosystem that we want to explore. And can I share with you very briefly what an ecosystem map might look like?
Yeah, sure, of course.
So here is a so-called the planetary view. Now this example that I'm showing you is basically just a planetary view of the NFT collections as they are in Cardano. But this can be anything. This can be like a project, it can be a marketplace, and all those arcs that you can see among the different points is basically the relationship that there is between those things. I just did this very super simple example to demonstrate the power of this thing. So if we click on one of these on this collection, we can see basically what our machine learning system believes being the connection between the different collections. So in this case, you can see that all the collections are all pixel collections. So you can see, I don't know, you can Pixie Planet or Put Your Hands Up. Like you can see all those things, how they are correlated and similar to each other. What we are trying to do with this again is find the relationship that there are among the different projects and the different entities on the blockchain. Sorry, I just went a little bit crazy there. So this is our second Catalyst proposals. I won't go too much into details about the other two. I invite please everybody to check out our website. It is ArgusNFT.com. There is a section in the center where there is a link to our Catalyst proposal. Please take a look at them. And if this is something that you guys like, please support us and vote for us.
Absolutely brilliant. I think this is a very cool project to support. And like I said earlier, it has a really good potential future and whatnot around it. So it's something that I think everyone in the Cardano ecosystem should at least have a look at and consider within their voting process. All right, Giovanni, it's been a pleasure going through all this Argus NFT stuff and learning a little bit more about what you're building and this entire fraud protection platform, essentially, and how you're spinning it up as a software for a service company to provide to other ecosystems, marketplaces, and everything else around it. So it's been a pleasure learning more about it and finally meeting you as well. Putting a face to the Twitter handle, essentially, after all these years.
Peter, thank you very much. It was really nice to be on your show. And thanks everybody for watching us.
Now, if you want to support Giovanni and his project, all the links to the Catalyst proposals are down below for you. You can check them out, read over them, see what you think. Give him a vote in the upcoming Project Catalyst Fund 9. This is, and if you really like it, go ahead and start voting for it. But please read over it and see if it's suitable for what you think are in the parameters of you voting for Project Catalyst. Now, there are quite a few proposals this round, Project Catalyst. I think there's 1,700 different proposals, so it's going to be quite hard to pick and choose from them. There are a lot of options, but I did do a video overview, and there will be more around video overviews that is around voting for Project Catalyst. So please, if you're interested, give me that thumbs up, click subscribe, click the notification bell, and you'll hear more about Project Catalyst, the voting process, and everything around that. I have another interview coming up with Landano that is using the NFTs and IMX, the identity solution that is building out cross-chain, but starting on Cardano, and they're using NFTs and digital identities for this process as well. So I'm pretty interested in that. If you want to hear more of it, please make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.